My name is Lauren Werner, and this is my side hustle. My name is Lauren Werner. I am an artist based out of Madison, Wisconsin, and my Twitter handle is Red Winged Wren. I do all sorts of different kinds of art, from traditional to digital, and I offer my skills up for commission and for anybody who would like to have me draw or paint or do any sort of digital work for them. So I started taking commissions, I believe around 2016, when I was working on my degree at UW-Madison. I was going for Bachelor of Arts in Zoology and Environmental Studies, which is kind of what really plays into my art style. It's very nature-based. A lot of animals are in my own personal works, and not just what people commission from me, but what I like to put out for people to view my style and work as. I found out about being able to be commissioned after doing art since as long as I can remember. I ended up finding through, ironically, Telegram, that there was this whole community of people who offered their art skills for commission in some of these larger artist groups I was joining. And when I would post my art and people enjoyed it, and eventually I started getting asked if I did commissions, and after that, it was kind of like, well, why not? People want my art. I love doing it, so I might as well offer it up for people to contact me if they want me to do something for them. So from there, it just kind of grew into what it is now, where people will, contact me through email or through Telegram, through Twitter, asking, hey, could you do this for me? When are you available to do this art? And it's just kind of grown from there. Telegram is like a instant messaging, but it's a separate app that a lot of the people who commission me, since I do a lot of work in sort of what you could call the nerd community, so a lot of people who like comics, anthropomorphic characters, anime, all those kinds of different communities all kind of go on to Telegram, which is just this instant message based app where people communicate with each other, and you can be in large groups or private message outside of those groups. Of course, as an artist, I try my hardest to be great at customer service. It's what I've been doing since forever before my art. I've been working in customer service all my life, so it is something I find highly important. But I also like to remind people who buy from artists that while we're good at what we do, it does take time. It is a well-honed skill that has taken years for me to get here. So it's not always going to necessarily be an instantaneous thing. A lot of people will come to me and be like, hey, I've got $5. Can you make me a piece that's worth $50 for that? It's like, I can't, as much as I would love to be able to help you out, I can't offer my services for less than what I do, because it does take a lot of physical time and hours and work, and not a lot of people notice or see that, because they're not, they don't see me in an office. They think, oh, she just sits at the, on her couch at home and draws all day. But I mean, people sit in the office and they type on the computer all day. It's just a different way of working, but it is still hard work and hours that we have to put in. So, sometimes you do have to make that sacrifice for art if you want to have something like that. It's not always going to be free, unfortunately. Generally, my works are based on the content of what's going to be made. So generally, I started out, and I'm trying to branch out from that, but I do a lot of work for, again, the nerd community, so a lot of characters, and so a lot of my pricing is based on how many characters will be in there, how complicated the background will be, and then from there, looking at, if there are going to be additional things I need to add to it that are more than just a general, like I'd like a desert background, or I'd like them to be in a bedroom. If it's, such as a character that's got wings, or, something very intense like neon colors, or something that's not your average spectrum of colored pencils or things like that when I'm doing traditional art. That's going to take a little bit more time to figure out how to add that into it. That's going to change the price. But generally, smaller pieces are around like $15 to $20, and then that's also what I would charge for like prints of things that I've previously made and offer for people to buy, is just, they really like that artwork I made. If they want to buy just that particular piece but not the original, I offer it for a cheaper price to let them buy that, as a separate thing. But if they're commissioning me, it can range anywhere from $20 for a simple headshot of their character to, a $200 piece for 5 characters in a like playing poker or things like that. So it all depends on how complicated, but I do try to make sure that I take into account the hours I'm putting in, but also giving a fair price for what they're asking for. A lot of the work that I do when doing traditional is a lot of pencil sketching, a lot of pen work, but I do really enjoy acrylic painting, and it's been a while, but I would like to start getting back into doing watercolor art. It's something that I highly enjoyed when I was going to college and high school and doing a lot of art courses through that, and it's something I want to incorporate more in my art. But then traditional, I use Paint SAI and other programs like that to help manipulate my art post it being finished, to help make it look clean and ready to be given to the customer. So that's generally with the programs and the art tools that I like to use, but I'm well versed in a lot of different things like oil painting, pastels, charcoal. So anything that you're looking for, if there's a different style you would like that I don't necessarily offer, you're always welcome to ask or see if that's something I would be able to do for you. I do enjoy discussing with my customers what they're looking for and trying to branch out, not only in what I offer, but what I use and do on the daily, so that way, I keep it fresh for me and for the customers. On a typical day of work for my art commissions, I tend to start my day with my morning coffee, walk the dog, and then when I get back, I pull out my tablet and I'll look to see who in my queue I've got going on, what are my current works, and what I need to get started on. And then I'll try to allocate time throughout the day for each of those works, and if I can finish one that day, that's what I'm going to try my hardest to do, because I do like to make sure that while I put out good work, I'm also efficient and they're not, waiting for 2 to 3 weeks for it. I tend to try and do at least a week to 2 week wait time for a piece to be done. So I try to make sure that on my days off that I'm working, if I can finish a piece, I'll do so. Otherwise, I do try to keep it fresh, make sure that I'm working on different pieces so I don't burn myself out on just one. And it really helps to walk away from a piece and come back so I can see new and fresh ideas in it that I might not have after spending 2 or 3 hours staring at it all day. Since graduating from UW-Madison, I now work for the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. I work as both customer service in the call center as well as a warden dispatcher. But with that job, my hours are varied and I work 10-hour days, so I have a lot of downtime to be able to work on my art outside of it, which is why I'm able to maintain, customers coming through and still being able to do my art while keeping a full-time position with the Department of Natural Resources. One of my bigger goals is to be able to actually set up a vendor table, whether that be at conventions where a lot of the people who do commission me nerds, Comic-Con people, being able to set up a table at something like that eventually, but also, the farmers market down on the square would be amazing to be able to participate in, or when they do the art fair on the square, that would be, incredible to be able to participate in, because I do enjoy the nerd community I work with, but a lot of my heart and and love go into the drawings of natural Wisconsin animals and things like that I think would draw in a crowd more local to us, the Madison people, Wisconsin people. I think I'd like to be able to work with that community more personally, and I do enjoy, of course, reaching outside of that, but it would be nice to be able to get to know people local and have them enjoy my art as well. Besides, of course, doing sort of like a vendor table style thing, every artist's life goal is to do art for a living. It's one of the harder things to get into, because eventually you do have to consider giving up that permanent job, but it's something that I'm slowly working towards. I'm trying to build a community who enjoys my art, who wants to interact with me and give me ideas of what they want to see from me, so that way I can have a community that wants to keep coming back or helps me draw in people, so I can consider stepping away eventually from the DNR or wherever I end up being later in life, to be able to focus on my art and putting that out for people to enjoy, working with people to make art that they want. It really would be, it would be incredible. If I could do that for the rest of my life, I really would. So I'm trying to get there, and that's why I'm trying to build a fan base on Twitter. I'm trying to reach out in a lot more social media now. So I'm hoping, as I continue to do that and show people what I have to offer, eventually down the road I'll be able to say goodbye to my day job and make instead this my day job. So if you want to commission me, you can find me both through Twitter, private messaging me there. My email is available there for you to access me professionally that way. I also work through Telegram, which is another way that I communicate with a lot of my clients. And then I also have something called a Trello queue, where you can check to see what I'm working on throughout, the weeks and months, and then also checking to see where you are in progress in those works and seeing, when I'll be available next for commission.